Shalom, shalom. Kal halalim la abano Yahweh ala hayanoah bahashem Yahushai bahashem racha hakodash. Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai, Brakti Yahweh, Brakti Yahushai bahashem racha hakodash. All over the world, you've got Edomites reminiscing about the days of old. You got the likes of Trump, want to make America great again. Basically, they want to have Jake under subjection even further than they already have Jake now. When I say Jake, I'm talking about the Israelites, who the bulk of them are the so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Indians, and the Latinos only of Negro or Indian descent on their father's side are claimed to be Latino, okay? And for you idiots out there, the Latinos are not Edomites, okay? There's Edomites amongst, they're so-called black Edomites, okay? If your father's a cracker, an Edomite, then you're an Edomite, okay? Unless he's an Israelite foreigner, but the Spirit will reveal that in the end. That's the parallel between the wheat and the tares. And then you've got the Israelite foreigners like myself, from various parts of the world where Jake was there during slavery or migration, marrying women of other nations and settling there. And sometimes Jake even takes on the last name of their wives or their women. And I've also seen that happen as well. All right. And I've seen that firsthand, where an Israelite foreigner married to a white woman took on his wife's surname, and changed his first name, because he wanted to fit in. Anyway, okay, so you got the likes of Trump, then you got the likes of the so-called far right, skinheads. And incidentally, skinheads is basically rude boy culture from the tribe of Benjamin, the West Indians, that clipped their hair short, that wore bomber jackets and all those Dr. Martin boots, okay? And, listen to reggae. Then you got Edomites copying the same look, listen to reggae, but then they hate ninjas or they hate people of color. All right, just to throw that in there. Okay, so everything stems from Jake. And just want to get back to the fact that, the war drums are brewing. You got the likes of, I'll find the video in a second in my history, of a so-called ISIS attack. We know Esau's a so-called white man funding these groups, right? Because they want this society to fall, to micro C-hip everybody, okay? The RFID, rice grain within your hand, Revelation 13:16. They want to have greater control on the left-hand side. But you got a lot of Edomites, so-called white people, that are having a lot of resentment for the influx of recent migrants. A lot of them, they focus more on the Muslims, okay, because Islam is so-called a religion that doesn't integrate with the greater society. They keep themselves to themselves and all that kind of thing. I don't give a shit about Islam either way. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Pardon my French. All right, I'm for Jake. I know there's Jake amongst all the nations across the four corners of the earth. All right, I get that. But there's every single person that looks like a heathen can't be a Jake, all right? Because where the hell are we going to get slaves from, right? Unless, if the Lord reveals him that that's a Jake, that's a Jake, all right? In due time, that'll come to pass. But you got the so-called white man having a lot of resentment, man. They're reminiscing of how, I'm talking about England now, right? And I know, America, I'm talking about England. And they call themselves the Europeans or the indigenous of the UK. You Edomites were not the indigenous of the UK. All right. Queen Europa was a so-called black woman. She was Japhetic, okay, which would be the Samoans or the Polynesians today. Okay. And they went towards Australia and New Zealand, which you crackers went over there and took over that. Look at it this way, Esau, the so-called white man. If you didn't meddle with other parts of the world, all right, a lot of those individuals will not be here. This land doesn't belong to you anyway. This land does not belong to you, okay? And the only way you created a so-called British Empire, you sing that song, Rule Britannia, right, is because you ruled over other people. All right, you want to leave. You cannot go to Spain because people of color are everywhere. All right, and how do you think those Spanish and Portuguese feel about you? The South African indigenous feel about you. The New Zealand indigenous feel about you. The Australian indigenous feel about you. The so-called Native Americans, the tribe of Gad feel about you. Huh? The tribe of Judah, the so-called Negroes feel about you. Huh? The East Indians, Elam. You crackers are still in India, by the way. You all didn't leave in 1947. All right? After ruling it for 300 years, stealing everything, because India was once a first world country. Okay? The coinage there was in gold and silver. All right? You Edomites used to come there for spices and the silk and the jewelry. Where do you think that queen, the ugly Edomite wench, got her crown from? All the stones, precious stones in there. They're all stolen. Everything you have, you Edomites, you so-called white people, you Caucasians, have stolen. Okay? And then once the UK, the United Kingdom, was once a hub for the so-called British Empire. So people of other nations, of other countries, including Israelites and Israelite foreigners, would come here to work. Like the Israelite foreigners that I'm from, the Punjabis. Okay, Punjabi means the land of the five rivers. Okay, all right. Um, every East Indian is not the same. There's many races within India alone. We don't ethnically look the same either. All right. Um, and then you got the West Indians. My brothers, the tribe of Benjamin. Okay, that came here in the 50s and 60s. We were together side by side in the hoods over here in West London and other parts of London. I remember growing up in the 80s as a child, running around playing in the park. You know, and a lot of you, yeah. And then on top of that, the work that that our people were doing in the country was work that you Edomites, you so-called white people, didn't want to do, and they were doing it. My people were doing it for low wages. You crackers didn't want to do it. Okay. All the Edomites, the only thing that you had was this white thing. When you're, when you're already red. Okay. And then you have this resentment for people that are different. How do you think those indigenous people, every single, all over the world, felt about you coming there, living there for hundreds of years, stealing, pillaging, graping the women, huh? Galatians 6 verse says that the Most High isn't mocked. You reap what you sow. Yeah, you were doing the racist attacks back in them days, right? Now it's happening to you. Now you're the minority on the bus. You're complaining that, oh, when I catch a bus to this part of London or that part of London, you got to count the white people. There's two people on the bus, two Edomites on the bus. That's your doing. If you want to look at it, that's your doing. All right. The England was a hub for the so-called British Empire. So people that were part of the British Empire, be it India, be it parts of Africa, be it the West Indies, the Caribbean islands, etc., 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 would travel to and fro to work. What do you expect? You think that you could fuck over every country in the world, and those people that you fucked over are not going to come here? You want to blame someone, blame your own kind, the government, and blame your own lazy backsides, because number one, you don't get educated, because the universities, when I went to college, university in the 90s, the university was full of people of color, so-called black and brown. A lot of West Indians, a lot of Nigerians, a lot of Israelite foreigners. You Edomites were the minority. And this is like going back 25, 30 years ago. You Edomites don't, and education was free at that time. You didn't have to pay money for university education. I'm throwing that in there as well. It was free at the time. College was free at the time. You could get a degree for free. You could get student loans, interest free at the time. And you crackers still don't want to take part of that. Who do you think majority of the doctors and lawyers and accountants and entrepreneurs are? They're Israelites, most of them. You got Elam thrown in there as well, and Ishmael, yeah. All right. And now you're talking about the east end of London is not Cockney no more, and all that kind of thing, and there's our culture's dying because it's the end of your society. 2 Ezra 6 verse 9, Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of that followeth. It's only going to get worse for you so-called white people. You think you can shit over the people that come over here, then you want to talk about rule Britannia. I'm proud to be English. You're not really English anyway. The real English are the angelic sons of Isaac. Okay, those are so-called black brown men. You Edomites are Esau. Okay, all right. You are not the angelic sons of Isaac. You are not the Anglo-Saxons. All right. And then you think that you can go over to other parts of the world and have that same pride and rule Britannia. I'm a so-called white man living in Spain, where the climate don't agree with you anyway. You get skin cancer. You live in parts of South Africa. And a lot of you Edomites from this country went to South Africa when there was apartheid because you wanted to take part in uh, in ruling over the people over there. And then what happened? Those Hamites and Israelites, started juking you up, didn't they? Right? And now all these, you can feel the resentment in the air. It's like a lot of these Edomites are talking about when they catch a train to London, different parts of London, which is true. I've taken the train as well, saying, where the hell are all the white people gone? I sometimes say that because I don't want to see no damn crackers. You want to say, where them fine ass Edomite women at? Where the Edomite girls at? You know, they're around, but not many. Most of them are Polish and Ukrainian or whatever. A lot of them immigrants. But it's a lot of Israelite foreigners, a lot of Elam, a lot of Ishmael. You got a lot of Portuguese Jakes, a lot of Asherites. You got a lot of Colombian Jakes. You know, and then the recent migrant situation. I'm not gonna. That's set up. Then that's by design. A lot of them are undercover martial law troops as well as or migrants fleeing or immigrants fleeing from different parts of the world for a so-called better life here. All right, and the government's putting them up in nice hotels, and then you got a lot of Edomites resenting that. Every time something goes wrong for the so-called white man, Esau, the so-called white man's got to blame people of color. But then they show videos of so-called all white areas where they all effed up, all on dope and crack, heroin, right? All overweight and obese. Who are you going to blame then? you know? And some of these videos I've been watching, because I grew up in these areas when there was a lot of riots and racist attacks and things like that. And then we had those Israelite foreigner gangs that were created in the 60s and 70s. All right. And they were patrolling. They were like similar to the Bloods and Crips. Okay. One was called the Holy Smokes. The other one was called the Two Nuns. Right. They patrolled the areas of Southall, which is West London. Right. Which is like a suburban type area near the Heathrow. Very big area. And they would patrol it. And they beat the hell out of and juked. And basically poked with blades. The skinheads. It was hand-to-hand combat. They used hammers, bats, cricket bats, to fight the skinheads. Okay? And then once the problem was so-called resolved, where Edomites, knew that, if you come into this area, you got to respect us because we're not going to take none of your shit. And the Edomites stopped doing their BS when there was retaliation. Then those gangs turned on themselves, just similar to the Bloods and Crips. And now these old videos are being rehashed. I've been watching a whole lot of videos of Edomites resenting the influx of people of color. They're the minority now. All the pubs are closing. They said the Muslims don't drink because the pubs are closing. The pubs are not closing because Muslims don't drink. A lot of Israelite foreigners, like my family and all that, we all drink. Because it's a cultural thing, especially in northern India. Tawari Habashim Shai, we won't put into that Islam bullshit, but yeah, we drink. It's a cultural thing with us at weddings and parties and stuff like that. We like our pubs. I like my pubs, but they're shutting because Esau, the so-called white man, your government is closing up this world. The grinding is ceasing. All the shops and stores are closed. So what do you say about all the so-called white areas where everything is shut? Who are you going to blame that on? Let me see, where's this? Let's see if I can get anything out of this. This documentary is called "The Last Whites of the East End" documentary 2016. You got this sellout coon here as well. He's a Jake. He's a Benjamite. Basically, his mother's an Edomite, but he talks about that there's not too many white people. He'd rather have more. I get it as well. I get it. I'd rather be around Edomite women than these dirty ass Edomites. But that's just me. You know. Uh, yeah, he's talking about the same thing because he was basically brought up by his nan and his mother. His dad wasn't there. You know. And he's a bus driver, and he's talking about the lack of white people, so-called white people in the area as well. And the Edomites are saying, "Where the hell are all the so-called white people gone?" You know, this is them going to a soccer match. That's his mum. That's his dad. I think that's him as a child. The boy's got straight hair. He can pass for an Israelite foreigner from North India, or like a Latino brother. You know what I mean? I'm sure he got a brunt of, I bet he got called a Paki as well because, I guess he can pass for one, especially here in the UK. If you're brown, they're not going to think you're Latino. It's like if you're brown in America, they can think you're Latino, right? But over here, you're brown, they're going to think that, okay, yeah, he's so-called Asian, South Asian, You're either going to be called a nignog or a nigger or a Paki. Yeah, his nan, his mother's mother, right, had a cat. That was a black cat, and she called the cat nigger. And he's trying to explain to his nan, Nan, you can't call that cat no more. And she didn't understand why, you know? And their football and the I think it's the West Ham soccer stadium is going to close as well. They're all getting emotional about that. And there's basically the whole way of life is changing. You've got this Edomite family talking about that their daughters got to split up. They got their families living. Each member of their family has a house a road away. They got their real close knit family, and they don't want that to end because their culture's dying. And the mother was crying that their daughter's going to move out. So basically, you're seeing the demise of the so-called white man. This is like 8 years ago, for crying out loud, and it's worse today. You know, bruv, walking around London, there's not many so-called. Let me see here. Like, he's with his woman here. Like, she's an Israelite. You gonna say she's not an Israelite? She can pass her. Well, more like a Latina little brown baby, tan baby. That's his woman. See, that's another thing I want to touch on as well. The Israelite foreigners. That's how you get blended in. Okay, his father's so-called Benjamite, West Indian. His mother's so-called white. Right. Then he grew up. Right. He had a child with another woman. Right. He's not living with her now. This is his new woman. He's got a little daughter. That's how each generation gets lighter. So are a lot of so-called white people that are kind of cool to get along with. Right. And they'll be the ones that will be standing up for you if you get into a situation with crack real Edomites. Because there are a lot of Israelite foreigners. We're the largest nation on the planet Earth. You know? Well, I think this woman is Romanian. She could be Jake still. Romanians, a lot of Romanians. Look at that. This is what Esau hates, which is cool, man. Because I hate it too. That they're everywhere. These Muslims. I'm gonna share the links in the vid. You can watch it. I remember when I used to take my children to school. This is about 10, 15 years ago. There was an Edomite woman there. She beat the hell out of a Somalian woman, and I heard them Edomite women talking amongst themselves. She's the my daughter's the only white one in the class. My daughter's the only white one in the class. You know. Now you know how we felt. And don't get it twisted. I don't care about Elam or the heathen nations. All right. It's all about Jake and amongst Jake the elect. Look at that. This is what they reminisce about the old world. You know. Look at that. All lily white faces, pale faces, and that. You know, when they had their pubs everywhere. When you got given a job, and with that job, you got yourself like a government house where the rent was already paid. They reminisce about the old England, and the counterpart to that is America, where Trump is saying, uh, make America great again. They basically want to have Jake in slavery again, and the way they're going to try and do that is put the RFID hip in you. But obviously, it won't be the America that you know now. America's going to be hit with because they want America to be destroyed. They want to create an Elysium. That's why they make those movies. They want to do that. They want to do that Minority Report, and actual real reports have come out about, you know, they've got like technology where they can trace to see if you're having negative or criminal thoughts towards a government. You know, all these movies, you think it's entertainment, Terminator 2 and all that. It's actual real documentaries. I'm just going to go into this. I'm going to go into a couple of scriptures afterwards. So I'll just get a little bit more footage. Elam there. Like you got this white boy here, right? He looks like a white boy. But his mother's East Indian, and I got a feeling his dad's Irish. All right, so he could be a Jake, but his mother, I think she's an Israelite foreigner. So basically, it looks like a white guy with a brown woman, and his son came out looking pale, of course, But that's just my. Yeah, where's his mom? There she is. Look, my man and my mom are Indian. Her nan and his nana are mom are Indian. I don't think I'm racist. Hello. Yeah, that's the son. There, look. His mother's a so-called Indian. Anyway, that one. This one as well. This is the latest video. You got like you got no go white areas. You got no go areas where Muslims patrol their areas. All right. Okay, patrol their areas. They don't want no Edomites coming in there. And if they see Edomite women or even women of their own nation wearing Western clothes, they say, this is Sharia law area. You can't have that. You know. But then again, on the flip side, if you look at it, if people are sticking together like that and don't really want to mix with the so-called white man, it's only because of past terrorism. And I'm going to go into a video showing what these crackers used to do. You know, this guy's saying the English are junkies, the English are pedos. It's referring to the so-called white man. We don't want no part of their nonsense. They want Sharia law here and all that kind of stuff. Then you got the other side, the EDL, the English Defence League, which I say they're not racist or that, but they're a bunch of old school skinheads because they're probably in their 50s, 40s, and 50s. So go back 25, 30 years, they're probably skinheads back in the early 90s and 80s. When I was a teenager walking around in the early 90s, you could still see skinheads walking around. Yeah, like this guy. You can imagine 30 years ago, probably younger and slimmer with a bomber jacket on, shaved head and all that, you know, saying, you effing nigger, you packy, you wog, you know? You got a lot of Jake, right? Nigerians and West Indians commenting on this, that, they feel for the so called white man. And what's Esau saying? Okay, if you feel for us, go back to Africa. They don't want they don't want to hear the pity. No matter how you try and be nice to the so-called white man, they're gonna say go back to Africa. You know, we should say, yeah, hell, I'll go back to Africa. If you didn't take all my wealth, give all my wealth back, we'll go back to Africa. And which part of Africa? Africa's a continent. So basically, you got English Defence League, and you got these Muslim people clashing. You know, it's good. And this is recent. I watched this documentary the other day. I think it's been taken off YouTube. This is riots in the early 80s. Look at that. You got the Nazis there. Race riots, race attacks. The race riots started at a time in the early 80s when a couple of young lads were stabbed. They're from the same part of the world that my family's from, so I believe they were Israelite foreigners. One was at 14 years old, the other one was 19. There was chunks of blood all over the floor. They were stabbed by the skinheads. And the coppers asked him, when somebody asked what's going on, and he goes, it's nothing. It's just nigger blood or Indian blood, you know. So all these videos are being rehashed to create the anger, because it's created anger in me towards Esau anyway, because sometimes I find it hard to watch a slave movie. So I watch a lot of Django, because at least Django gets it in that one. And these ones, it lets you know, because we're coming to the world where these new Generation Z, where everyone's like, it's like Babylon, just everyone come together kind of shit. Back in the 90s, you would know, you know, to stay with your own. Socially, it'd be with your own. If you want to date a chick, back then, I wouldn't even contemplate dealing with a white woman. If I saw a white woman in the street, I wouldn't even look at her twice. For me, it was always that brown skin and long dark hair. You know what I mean? So-called black and brown women. And then then you find out, and then now it's getting to the point where you see a lot more mixed relationships because they're trying to kill that divide. But really, that divide is still there. That divide is there. Esau, the so-called white man, hides it a lot more, but you're going to see it soon rehash hardcore. And because there's a lot of resentment, man. There's a lot of resentment. Because what it is, these so-called white people, you should see their faces. I've been looking at their faces on the London Underground when you take the train. A lot of these crackers, man, they're not happy because they're the odd one out. 40 years ago, it'd be like all Edomites and you'll be see like 3-4 brown faces. Now the other way around, it's like all brown people and like 2-3 pale faces. And they got like a real angry or a sad look on their face. You know? And that's mainly the males. The women already are indifferent, you know. But But yeah, you can feel the energy in the air that something's about to pop off. And then you got British police, undercover police, saying that there's going to be an ISIS attack in the UK in the next upcoming months. Okay, and you got the lack of jobs as well. And I'm sure any of you brothers out there that are in between jobs or looking for work, your mobile phone, right, is not ringing off the hook like it did 3-4 years ago. I'm sure you're finding that out too. Right? Where's the other video I had? Now, this video, I don't care about the Bengali family. Right? Bengali is a part of Bangladesh, which is this is in 1985. All right, and this is the reason why a lot of people in the East End, especially people of color, stick together. All right, I don't care about Elam. They could be Jake, but I don't think they are. Right? This is kind of shit that they need to go through. All right, they would have like dog feces thrown in through the letterbox. Every time they fix the window, they'll be smashed again. They'll be spat at. If the children are playing outside, they'll be afraid to come outside because they'll be beaten up. All right. Their apartments will be set on fire. It's a 20-minute video. I can't go through the whole one. Let me just read a scripture because I've been yapping on long enough. 2 Ezra 15 and 16. There shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. They'll be invading one another. What does that mean? It means that the lack of bread, the lack of money, resentment, okay, tired of the government, and especially when their prime minister, especially in this country, is a man of color as well. Rishi Sunak, the Edomite. So that resentment is there. So that sedition is basically, like a bunch of women commiserating. You're going to have a lot of these Edomite men talking amongst each other. Both sides. Like you got that Muslim crew or the Muslim guys, and then you got those Edomites. Then you got the English Defence League, those Edomites. They're going to be invading one another. It's going to get to the point where they're not going to be just picketing. Picketing meaning like holding signs and shit up. They're going to be like using weapons on the street. They're not going to regard the kings nor princes, your so-called government officials. They're going to do what they've got to do. Sword and destruction draweth nigh. I need to get that one. Second Ezra 15 and 15. For the sword and the destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. And that sword could mean, people always say that there aren't guns in the UK. There are guns in the UK. Okay, you got armed police that tend to certain situations where guns are required. For the most part, you got two divisions. You got armed police and then you got unarmed police. Okay, here in the UK, and guns are here. A lot of the street people, what you call drug dealers or criminals, whatever race background they're from, they have guns. Okay, and guns come over from the border of Europe and other parts of the world as well. Okay, the easiest strap to get over here in the UK is a double-barrel shotgun. All right, which they call a sawn-off shotgun, which a lot of farmers have, which are legal in certain areas. A lot of Edomites have them as well. But yeah, you got your Mac 10s and all that kind of stuff because you got a lot of Jakes that have been blowing each other away since the 80s and 90s and doing shootouts where, little Israelite children get shot as well because, Jake don't know how to shoot. So that sword could mean anything. It could be a person with a big butcher's knife. It could be a person with a machete. It could be a person with a literal sword. It could be a person with an actual gun. All right. And it's going to get to that point. It's going to get to that point. So Esau just harassed them and harassed them and harassed them with violence, spitting, kicking, punching, beating up their children, chucking feces through the letterbox, smashing their windows, even burning their house down or burning their apartment down, so they leave. There were 6 families, colored families in that place, right? And they all had to move. Let's get to the Israelite family. One second. Where is it? Where is she? Where is she? Now this was the next house the Elamites were offered, right? Okay, the Bengali family from Bangladesh, which is part of India or used to be part of India before the British parted it. Right, this is how it was before, right? Before they moved in. Once the crackers in the area, the Edomites found out they were going to move in, or they had moved in. Watch what happens next. Look at that. No Paki, no Paki. And they'll have NF written on the NF stands for National Front, which was a skinhead group back in the day. Then they had Combat 18, which is another skinhead group. Then they had the BNP, the British National Party. Now they've got the EDL, the English Defence League. And obviously, look, they got like, this is pork, I don't know, the feet of a pig or something, and they got NF written on it because they're not Muslims. This would be offensive to an Israelite that knows he's an Israelite by chucking pork in their front garden or breaking their window and chucking it through their window. You know, because Muslims don't eat pork, even though they eat other abominations. So this was offensive to them. And these Edomites knew how to get, how to sort of hit certain parts of their spirituality as well. And they got NF written on there. Look, National Front. Kicking down doors. Look at this is an Israelite woman, okay? A West Indian woman. She wasn't at home, right? They came in. Look what they did to her apartment. They kicked down the doors, right? Smashed and ramsacked the whole house. Wrote "black bitch" up on the wall, sprayed it up, and her children weren't there. You know. And this is 1985, and this is the resentment of those people has been those Edomites is still to this day because I've showed you videos of today, and I'm showing you videos of maybe 30 years ago, 40 years ago. All right. They were complaining about migration or immigrants coming in then, right? And England was still part of, they were part of the Commonwealth then, weren't they? I believe, right? And obviously, this is amplified even further because London, as they say, the Edomites say, is unrecognizable. You got Edomite women complaining about wherever they feel like they're walking through Morocco because you know how Muslim men are. Because those MFers watch a lot of Western movies and porn and stuff like that. So they assume that every woman in the West is basically a porn star. So they're going to try and grab at you. They're going to, if you're wearing certain clothes, they're going to try and grab at you. They're going to, if you're not a woman wearing Muslim garb, if you're wearing Muslim garb, they might leave you alone if your face is covered and stuff like that. They're going to say, oh, that's a sister, that's a sister, that's a sister. But if you're a woman, right, especially an Edomite looking woman and attractive, they're going to grab at you. They're going to go, pss, 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 they're going to try and whistle at you or whatever, you know? That's what they do. And the women are even saying that it's unsafe for them to walk these streets. And this is happening now. I'm just going through all the last couple of days of the documentaries and interviews I've been watching. There's so many, I can't really put them all in one video, you know? But I'm sure you brothers have seen it. She's not using her real name. Look at that. Black bitch. And these Edomites feel the same way. Look, National Front, you nigger. Look at that. They smashed up her yard. Look at that. She works hard. She's got children. Look at that. Books all over the floor. Smashed the windows. Turned the furniture upside down. Smashed the TV. Look. Put a hammer through it and left the hammer there. Chuck paint everywhere. Let dogs mess through the dogs mess meaning like dog's feces. There's an Elamite. His house was petrol bombed. His apartment. I'm gonna go to this one. This one has really struck a nerve. Look, you got this Jake family, a Benjamite family. Her little daughter, maybe 4 years old, was shot at by some skinheads, Edomites, and the bullet grazed her head. I think it was like a pellet gun, or what you call like a gas gun with carbon dioxide. But she's a child, and it grazed her head. But I think it was a real bullet. There's a graze there. This is 1985, so she's probably like maybe 43, 44 years old now. Well, the Edomite copper said that it wasn't a racist attack because they didn't say nigger or wog or whatever. If they hear that term nigger or wog, then they classified it as a racist attack. So if you didn't say no so-called racist words, they don't classify as a racist attack. Even the police were basically basically a lot of them are, part of certain groups. You got KK members in American police. I think you got like a KKK chapter in the UK as well. A lot of them are with the skinheads. Look at this kid. Caught by some skinheads or racist Edomites in his school. They slashed his back with a box cutter. Why? Because he's brown. Elamite family. It could be Jake. I don't know. But I think they're Elam. But nevertheless, this is Esau's not going to differentiate when that day comes. When it comes to race wars, and it's going to happen. Okay. You got a lot of Edomites with having a lot of resentment. They want their old way of life back. They want their old traditions back. They want their old so-called culture back. They want their pubs back. They want their employment back. They want their good old Friday, Saturday, knees up, having pints. Pints back. I think I'm going to hear an army helicopter. 1 second. I'm going to come back to the videos. Flying over the house. I'm going to hear it somewhere. I haven't seen it yet. So when they want the old way of life back, there's a lot of resentment. London is very brown right now. And a lot of these Edomites, ultimately, it's going to lead to a big race war because once this financial system crashes, it's going to get to that level. And then from the flip side, where these Edomites have moved to, where they think that they can just move to different parts of the world, not learn the local language or the language of the country, and think that they're okay. They can go to other parts of the world, but other people that look different can't come to other parts of the world, even though Esau's messed the whole world up. So a lot of the Spaniards are going to get pissed off with you crackers, okay? A lot of the Portuguese are going to get pissed off with you Edomites, you English Edomites, okay? Australia, New Zealand, America, over here. And a lot of you Edomites have moved to the outskirts of London as well, the more countryside areas. And it's going to get down like that. All right? I believe once these race wars take place, it's going to be everybody that's of color that looks colored so-called color, brown, or different shades of brown, are going to stick together. Take out Esau. And once Esau's taken care of, then it's going to be like Jacob versus Elam, Jacob versus Ishmael, and vice versa. You know, it's going. The Lord is going to put that spirit out there. There's another video I want to show you as well. It's about ISIS attacks. The ISIS attack. Here we go. And this is from 1 day ago. ISIS will attack Britain in months as MI5 prepares to raise threat level, warn terrorism experts. And what they do in 9/11, didn't they blame the Muslims for that? Right? And then you got actual real Muslims that believed the hype that Osama bin Laden did it, and they were actually proud of it. You know, whether it's opposed, like created opposition, because we know ISIS is funded by the Edomites, okay, by America, all right, and other parts of the world, all right, creating these false beheadings and all that kind of stuff, and these Christian beheadings and all that kind of stuff. This shit could be all AI generated. We don't know, but the fact of the matter is, look at this guy. Doesn't he look similar to him? Look, they got the same damn near same face. Could be AI generated. Look at this guy. Look at that guy. They all got the same hairstyle as well. He's got his hands together like a free Masonic symbol. So there's a lot going on. I mean, you got the real people out there that actually believe this and create their own groups and want to join these kind of groups, and they go out there and do something. Then you got the fake ones out there as well. So it's a hodgepodge of different things going on. And then you got the real Muslims that are really up for their religion and want this Sharia law thing, which is Islamic law, in here in the UK, because they've made no-go areas for Edomites or so-called white people to go through, or non-Muslims. And they've actually put signs up saying that we don't want no whites here. Parts of Northern England, and parts of London as well, especially the East London, where there's a huge Muslim community, many Bengali Muslims, East Indians, and Pakistani East Indians, or Pakistani Indians. Well, there's the same landmass. Let's call it Pakistan now. Okay, and along with that, and Esau, the so-called white man, hating Islam so much, and Islam has always been at the forefront and the main religion, which is so adverse to the Western way of life, along with the ISIS attack. Now, if this actually goes ahead, this is going to create a real tidal wave of violence, man. Something's definitely going to kick off Abaratazar this summer, man, or sooner. You know. Isaiah 13:16. Their children also shall be dashed to pieces before their eyes. Their houses shall be spoiled and their wives ravished. Regardless of Esau, the so-called white man, hating and being racist, all right, a lot of them still like exotic women, man, because a woman is still booty, innit? It's still a prize. It's still PUSSY. So regardless of everything else, they're going to dash your children to pieces, right? Just delete your children, all right? And they're going to take your wives. What's ravishing? They're going to grip your woman up and try and deal with her, you know? What they call in the Western world a train, one man after the other. It's going to come to that point. Second Ezra 15 and 18. For because of their pride, the cities shall be troubled, the houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. Look how men were afraid back in the 70s and 80s and 90s, 70s and 80s. You know, that's why then Esau complains about certain areas being not integrated. It's because you terrorize those certain groups of people, and they don't want to be integrated around you because you terrorize their grandparents, and their grandparents pass on those stories saying this is how the so-called white man is. You know, you know how Jake, especially the West Indians and Israel foreigners, are going to say, like my dad would say, you know, certain white people are cool. My dad never says any racist shit against so-called white people. All right, I'm his son, but I hate Edomites because you know how Jake is. Jake just wants to get along, right? Jake would hate his own, but let's try and be cool with Esau. You know, that's why certain areas, even in the UK, have certain ethnicities. You're gonna have a West Indian area. You're gonna have Israelite foreigner area. You're gonna have Israelite foreigner combined with a West Indian area. You know, Jake's all together. Then you're gonna have like areas where it's nothing but Elam and Muslims. No other religion or race but Elamites and Muslims. Maybe some Ishmael thrown into it and some Somalians, Hamites, because they're Islam. Their commonality is Islam. Okay, they know that their women can walk the streets and go to the local stores, and the stores are owned by their own people. You know, and by the Eastern spices and whatever they eat, right? They know lager louts and drunk Edomites on the street or drug addicts because they got their own patrols patrolling the area. Okay, then Esau has a nerve to say, okay, why aren't these people of color integrating with us? It's because you keep troubling them. You know, there's so many stories in America where you go like, Jakes that are educated, like the husband could be a lawyer, the wife could be a doctor, and they move to a really nice area in certain parts of the states. And what happens? You got what they call a local Karen that doesn't leave them alone because this world is not our rest. Okay, you got Esau reminiscing of the old days. America wants to make America great again. You got a so-called white man who wants English England to be for the natives, which is they assume is this is their land. This is not their land. Okay, but if only they knew, they actually believe the lies, right? Pursuant to the book of Maccabees, because they're painted the likeness of their images. They actually believe the lies that their forefathers told them through movies and through paintings and all that kind of stuff. Made up books, And when the truth is coming out about Putin, bringing out the Russian icons, which our apostles and elders of Great Millstone have always been bringing out for the last 40 plus years. But now they believe it because Esau's put a stamp on it. Okay? And now with the rise of certain diseases as well, bird flu, people, I believe somebody in the UK, a 21-year-old boy, died because of that disease. You got pestilences, is it pestilences? And diseases that are coming now. Esau's coming out with some new stuff. All right. You got the rise of so-called ISIS, so-called terror attacks happening in the next few months. You got women making videos saying that even if the sun shines that day and you think that everything's going to be okay, it's not going to be okay. It's going to get to the point where things are not going to get better. Things are not going to get better, man. It's going to get worse before it gets better. Okay. This place doesn't have long, man. Yahweh Shem Ratazai speeds up. Because every single day getting through this world is annoying. And it's frustrating. Because once the bubble pops and you don't have to deal with earning money in this place and worrying about pounds and dollars and euros, and that part is over, then okay, cool. That part is done. You don't have to ever work again. Don't have to worry about bills and stuff like that. We just have to worry about just keeping faith in Yahweh Hashem Yashai, because then the miracles will get amplified. Because when your back is against a wall, right, and you're part of the hopeful elect or the elect, Yahweh Hashem Yashai is going to show greater miracles, man. Okay? Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh Hashem Yashai, Hashem Kodash. That actually, in one more scripture, those race rights are going to come. I'm going to go into the Jacob's trouble scripture, man. Jeremiah 30 and verse 7. Jeremiah 30 and 7. Alas, for that day is great, so that none is like it. It is even the time of Jacob's trouble, but he shall be saved out of it. Okay? And there's going to be it's going to be get to the point where there's going to be it's going to be like people are going to be hiding in their houses at certain points of the day. People are going to be coming out. Women are not going to be seen on the streets when all the hell breaks loose and there's no police. You women are not going to be wearing no thongs, bending over, showing that the T line of your underwear. You know, you're not going to be wearing your scantily clad clothing. You're not going to be all made up. You're going to be trying to hide yourself. You're going to be thinking, damn, I need to get me one of them outfits that those Muslim women wear, the burqa. And even if you do wear a burqa, okay, if you've got a vagina and titties, you're still going to be taken. All right? Because women are going to be a scarce commodity at the time, because a lot of you are going to be hiding. A lot of you are going to be deleted after they've had their way with you. All right? And it's going to be like that. It's going to be like a ghost town. You know? And because we're coming to a point in history where it's not going to be, it's not going to, it's never ever happened before. Because we're coming to the end of this empire, the end of Esau's rulership. And you can see the war drums happening, being drummed regarding World War III, Revelation 11:14, around the world, Israel and Iran and all that. You got the ISIS, you got the so-called the group ISIS, which has been created by the powers that be. Saying that they're going to do a so-called terrorist attack here in the UK. You've got the new pestilences and diseases and sicknesses that are being created by Esau, and Yahweh Shemashah is creating them on the left-hand side. Working on the minds of Esau to create this, to delete people further, so the lockdowns can happen again, because you're already used to it, and they're already keeping you in the house anyway, because you don't socialize anymore. There's no pubs to go out anymore. Everything that you buy is online, and they give you greater discounts if you purchase online. Why? Because they don't want you to go to a brick and mortar store. I bought a pair of sneakers a short while back, and the lady said to me, if you buy these online, you'll get 10% off. And I said, no, my size is here. I'll just pay for it now, But basically what they're trying to do is give you greater incentives to purchase online, so you get greater discounts. So this is ultimately going to lead to the demise of your high streets, your malls, which is already happening around the world as we speak, or as I speak. Okay, so it's like it's a stew, of all different elements of destruction for the society. Okay. And because the so-called white man was the power at that time, all the lands they invaded and stole from, those people are over here, and they're turning on them. And now the tables are turning on them. They're the minority in certain cities, and they don't like it. Their way of life is being affected. They don't like it. So there's going to be elements and groups of them that are going to get down, and there's going to be race riots, fights in the street. There'll be all sorts of going on, man. Then you got the war drums happening in the East, World War III. You got the financial crash. The Dow Jones is always crazy movements there. Just a matter of time for the bubble pops. You got the lack of jobs now. As mentioned earlier, those of you that are looking for work, I'm sure you've noticed that your phone is not ringing off the hook like it did 3 years ago, because the grinding is ceasing. As frustrating and as worrying as it is, remember one thing: Yahweh Shemashah will help you, man. If your back is against the wall, if you're part of that number, you're going to be saved. You're going to be okay. The Lord's not going to have you in a situation where you're begging on the street. The Lord's not going to have you in a situation where you're homeless and you don't have enough money to pay your bills. You may be homeless if, when that time comes, when the bubble pops, and they say you got to take the charagma, which is a C-hip, the Revelation 13:16. If you don't refuse to take it, then you might be homeless. I mean, that's for righteousness' sake. But while this monetary system so-called exists for this short duration that we have it, the Lord won't put you in a situation like that. And even if you do get homeless, when the financial infrastructure crashes, the Lord will give you a way to find houses where people have been deleted and derelict. Yeah? Where the house is completely empty and you'll be able to go into it and live in it for a short while until you got to move again, like in the movie The Road. Yeah? where that Edomite family or the Edomite father and son found was it a bunker or something with a whole lot of food in it? But they're Edomites. We're talking about Jacob. Jacob's going to be all right, man. The elect, anyway. Anyway, I'm going to leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahshai, Ba'ashem Rakakodash. Shalom.